Hi, it's Taylor with Mom on the Spectrum, and today I'm sharing 15 things that I no longer do now that I know I'm autistic. And I'm declaring from this moment on that I am not going to edit this video. It's going to be unedited in terms of me making cuts. So, what you see is what you get, including the shaky camera, because I just hit my desk with my chair. My life changed a lot after I received my autism diagnosis when I was 31. So, I'm 36 now. I also have two autistic children, and their diagnoses happened around the same time as mine. I talk more about that in the diagnostic process playlist that I have. And I started compiling this list of 15 things that I don't do anymore, and I started realizing just how much my life has changed. So I will probably make a part two of this. If you want to include in the comments something you would add to the list that you've changed for your life, I'd love to hear it, and I might feature that in part two. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you're here. My favorite thing about being a YouTuber is the community. So if you're looking for a community to join of like-minded individuals who understand what it means to be autistic, click that subscribe button, join us. It's great here. So number one, the first thing that I don't do anymore is force eye contact. So I've realized that I used to look at people's cheekbones because it's too hard. Like I can't describe it when I look at when I look at autistic people. When I look at people, it's too much for me to look at their eyes a lot of times, unless I just feel like really, really safe with them. So I've gotten used to just looking at people's cheekbones. But now, I don't do any of these things on the list perfectly. But now I'm really good, I think, about just being okay with not making eye contact. And I started practicing in therapy first, right? That's where all of my healthy patterns that I'm developing probably started. But even when I'm shooting the videos on the channel, a lot of times I look over here, like people have said, "What's over there in the corner?" Nothing's over there in the corner, just my thoughts, I guess they live over there. So I'm starting to not make excuses for like I'm still listening to you. I just need to look somewhere else. Nothing personal. The second thing is I no longer, to the best of my ability, overcommit to social plans. If I don't want to go, I just don't want to go. And if you've been around the channel, you know one thing that I have going for me is that I'm openly autistic. Everybody in my life knows that I'm autistic. So it's, I guess, a little bit easier for me to say, like, no, I'm overwhelmed. I can't make that, because people get to hear my story publicly, online, whatever. But I've just started realizing like I like social events, but I have to do it in moderation. And so I just try not to overschedule myself. Caveat of I am a single mom and running a calendar for your kids is bewildering. And sometimes despite my best efforts, we do end up overscheduled, but I do the best that I can not to overcommit to social plans and I don't feel bad about it. Like I love being at home on my couch and I don't apologize for that. That's like my favorite place. My bed with my weighted blanket, favorite place. Number 3, I don't feel guilty for needing alone time. This is just part of my life. And from what I've learned, this is a huge part of most autistic people's lives. We need alone time to recuperate and recover and just feel grounded. So I build this in now, and my kids know too. Like, I just need a few minutes of alone time. Now, I always say this, it depends on what age your kids are, right? Like, don't leave your kids alone if they can't be unattended. But my kids are 8 and 11, and they get it when I'm like, I just need to shut this door. I need 5 minutes, and then I'll come back out and we can, eat dinner or whatever, watch our show together. Right now, we're watching Modern Family. We just finished Young Sheldon, which I actually think is a really great depiction of neurodivergence. So it's my plug for Young Sheldon. There are some mature themes, but it's also kind of like a coming of age show. So again, my kids are 8 and 11. That's a side note. Number 4, the other thing that I'm starting to no longer do now that I'm autistic is mask around people who are safe. So people who, again, kind of understand who I am and what my struggles are. I've started stimming more around people that I trust. And I've started just making accommodations for myself. I I'm trying to let myself info dump a little bit more. I think a lot of us like to info dump about our special interests. That part's still kind of hard for me. Like taking up space is hard for me. Drop a comment if you agree. Um, oh yeah, and I let my voice sound how it naturally does. So people have commented on it before that it's like I don't know. I guess maybe I have like a young sounding voice, or I've really overthought like the tone of my voice and how I sound, how I come across. And I'm like, you know what? I think I come across differently on different days, and like that's okay. Some days I have more energy in my voice, some days it's softer and higher, and then some days I'm tired and my voice is lower, and like I just I try to let myself just have whatever voice that day comes with. Oh, that's a weird way to say it. Okay. Number 5, the another thing that I don't do now that I know I'm autistic is push through sensory overload. So, again, a caveat, as a mom, sometimes you have to. Do I like being up at school functions with fluorescent lights? Literally on the Valentine's Day party, one of the moms, who shall not be named for safety purposes. No, we don't reach out and lash out in this community. Don't whatever. Okay. Tangent. I'm not editing this. One of the moms put penny whistles in the Valentine's tree bag. Do I love that? No, I don't. Do I have to push through that sometimes? Yes. But a lot of times I'm like, no, I need to be comfortable right now. So that's why I'm in workout stuff today. Like I was in my closet. I was like, I need to put a nice shirt on because I'm going to record. No, I'm just going to keep workout clothes on. Um, I keep fidgets around everywhere. So I haven't mentioned this in a while, Ono is one of my favorite fidget brands. So I used to kind of like the beginning of my autism career, not career, my autism journey. I just bought all the fidgets. Like, oh my gosh, I just need fidgets, all of them. And I have all these cheap little knickknack fidgets, which are fine. But if you're wanting to like be a professional fidgeter, that actually would be like a good tagline for them. Ono is where to go when you want to be a professional fidgeter. So one of their newer products is called the Slider, and it's like poker. It was designed to mimic poker chips sliding, but they're magnetized, and mine have fingerprints all over them now because I use them all the time. But they're mostly silent. Cue me dropping them and making a very loud sound. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so they're mostly silent and they fit in my pocket. They're in my purse. I have fidgets everywhere. So this is one of the Ono products that I absolutely love, and I will put a link in the description with a discount code if you want to check that out. The sixth thing that I no longer do now that I know I'm autistic is apologize for needing structure. I need to know the plans before I commit. I need visual guides. Sometimes I need visual cues. I need structure. I need to know expectations going in beforehand. And I don't apologize for that. And part of it is like, hey, I want to be fully there with you. I want to be committed. I want to be present. But in order for me to do that, what time are we leaving? What should we wear? Where are we leaving from? What's it going to be like? Google Maps the location so I can see the outside of the building. It's like I do all these things in advance, and I just know that's part of my process. It's part of my process, and I'm trying not to resist it anymore. Number 7, another thing I don't do now that I know I'm autistic is pretend to be low maintenance. And I don't think I'm high maintenance, but it's, I try now not to be like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Or like, I know I'm asking for, oh, shaking the camera again. I know I'm asking for a lot, but no more of that. It's like, again, it comes from that place of, I want to show up and I want to be fully me. And in order to do that, it requires a couple of things that are usually pretty easy to accommodate. And by the way, if you find yourself thinking like, oh, I still do these things, first of all, that's okay. Second of all, you might be in fight or flight or coming out of fight or flight or a hypervigilant mode like I have been, and I'm here for you. I have resources. Like stick around on the channel and check out my website. I've got resources to help you. I know what that's like. Number 8, the 8th thing that I no longer do or am transitioning away from now that I know I'm autistic is I don't feel ashamed of my special interests. So how many of us, when we start deep diving on something that we love, we feel like guilty and like, oh my gosh, I'm probably boring this person to tears or whatever. No, take pride in those special interests. Have fun info dumping about it, and like, yes, let's do it with respect for people's, you know, what other people are bringing to the conversation as well, right? I'm not saying let's dominate all the conversations with special interests, but we don't need to be ashamed about our desire to talk about maybe one or two things, okay? Like cats and psychology, give me a break, all right? If you're bored, then that's on you. Number 9, Another thing that I don't do now that I know I'm autistic is suppress my emotions to be more palatable. Did I write that? I wrote that. Asterisk, I'm working on it. So, a lot of us have been told that we're too sensitive, and I grew up thinking that I was way too sensitive. And so now I have a better understanding around that. I actually think that my sensitivity is a great strength, and it's actually a really keen indicator of when something is off. And so I'm learning how to trust that and trust my intuition. And also, emotions are kind of like a superpower. I don't like to like throw that term around because I'm not saying like autism is a superpower. Emotions can be like connecting with your emotions. Wow, I have so far to go here because I tend to live in my brain, like I know many of you do because I've talked with you. And it can be an autistic thing of like, oh, gonna retreat to my brain and be cerebral rather than in my body. But I'm learning how to drop in. It's kind of a buzzword phrase. Drop into my body. Ooh, where am I feeling that? I am upset. Why am I upset? Feeling through that, not apologizing for it. Number 10. Oh, this goes, okay, kind of like a two for one. I try not to judge myself for being too sensitive. Yep, I just need space to recharge usually, or I just need to take a minute and be like, yeah, I'm pretty much my intuition is always freaking right. And when the sensitivity stuff is going off, like I'm feeling overwhelmed or like um taken advantage of, or I just bing 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 bing, like the alarms start going off in my head and I can recognize it now. Like I'm trying not to suppress those things, being like, oh, something's off. I don't have to be able to understand it or put it into words right now, but I'm going to take a note and I'm going to step away so that I can feel more of what I'm feeling and less of what this other person is feeling. Anybody else kind of like autistic empath, like you feel other people's stuff before you feel yours? Okay. Are we on 11? Yes. Number 11, I try not to ignore my body's signals. These all kind of go hand in hand. So that's one thing that I teach in my Meltdowns 101 class. I've got lots of classes, you guys, momonthespectrum.live/classes. And I'm about to introduce a new opportunity where like you can have access to all of my classes for like, anyways, there's stuff in the works that I'm excited about. Not editing this. What point am I on? Ignoring my body signals. So Meltdowns 101, I talk about how to start identifying the cues that our body gives us when we're overwhelmed and overstimulated. And that's actually so empowering. And if you can imagine, it can be pretty predictable. Like once you start to become aware of your patterns, it can be pretty predictable. Like, oh, I know that when I start ruminating and like I get stuck on the same thought over and over and over again, I'm not making any progress. Sometimes I zone out, blank stare, and I lose track of time. I'm like, oh, how long have I been here? That's one of the first indications for me that I'm dysregulated. I'm in my head, not in my body. So paying attention to these signals, if I feel like I have like a hot flash or something, not time for those yet, but sometimes my body temperature gets dysregulated and that's another key indicator as well. So my body, when it gives me signals, I'm less like, oh, why are you feeling that way right now? I'm more like, oh, something's off. My body gives me the cue a lot of times before my brain does. Number 12, another thing I am phasing out of is trying to keep up with neurotypical productivity patterns. I've talked about this in other videos. There's a video that I made over uneven productivity. I'll try to put a link here. And there's a part 1 and a part 2. I made them a while ago, but I still think they're pretty good information. So uneven productivity, I embrace it. Like I am not a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday work person. That's not how my brain works. I'm kind of like, oh, I have an idea. Let me hyper focus on it until I forget to eat for 8 hours. And then I will need to rest hard. And then after I've rested, I will get hyper focused on something again. That's kind of my pattern right now. Again, I acknowledge that I'm in a particularly privileged place to pursue that because I am self-employed and I work at home. But even for those of you in the workplace, like a more typical workplace, just kind of starting to understand your working patterns and learning how to incorporate those in your schedule can be very, very helpful. And defining success on our own terms, right? Just because the world says you need to be productive on this schedule, which like Now that I said that out loud, be productive on this schedule. Are you kidding me? Like with an autistic brain, I don't get to just say like be productive now. It's like, let me go through the checklist. How did I sleep last night? When's the last time I ate? Am I hydrated? Am I overwhelmed? Are my clothes comfortable? Like all the stars have to align. And then it's like hyper focus. So you can't just like, oh, let's be productive now. Okay, number 13. This is a big one. Let me hold your hand when I say this. I'm in some sort of mood today. I no longer stay in friendships or relationships that make me feel drained. So this has been a really big change for me over the past few years. And oh my gosh, I still have so much to learn here. But if I can't be myself, if I'm feeling limited by the people around me, or again, back to that spidey sense of my intuition's off or something's off, it's not for me, and there have been some really excruciatingly difficult decisions that I've had to make in my life to honor this. Um, but again, I'm learning that, and my my psychologist is always like, your intuition is usually right on all the time. I'm like, I know it is, and I always question it. But it can be really hard. I know there's many of you out there who are in relationships where you can start to see these patterns and you're like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? What does this mean that this isn't lining up the way I thought it was, or that this is taking away from my emotional resilience, or, my feeling of being regulated? Like, that's a really scary place to be. I just want to say, I see you and I've been there, and it's going to be okay. It's a really, really good sign that you can identify those things. That's the first step. And I know that's not what you want to hear right now, because you want me to fix it and tell you everything's going to be okay and it's not going to be that hard. But creating new patterns in your life is excruciatingly hard. But the payoff is remarkable. It's like, what kind of life do you want to create for yourself? And what are you willing to sacrifice for that? And I didn't plan to go into this, but one principle that I have, this feels good. This feels like a classic, like, Taylor video. I haven't done one of these in a while. Okay. I'm not going to edit this, but I totally lost that train of thought. And I'm so sorry, because there are going to be many of you like, oh my gosh, I want to hear what you have to say. It'll come back. It'll come back if it's supposed to. Oh, it came back. Don't worry. I feel like one principle that seems to be true in so many circumstances is kind of, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so for those of us who have suffered so much and been to some really, really deep lows, I truly believe that for all those low moments, there's an offsetting number of highs. I think it balances out. So I think what I'm trying to say is there's hope that there's just like incredible highs waiting for you. And then I think where the beauty is in kind of balancing, like getting to experience those really deep lows and those really high highs, and then finding the balance and knowing that both of them have a place in different seasons, and that you can't have one without the other. Okay. Number 14. One thing that I have stopped doing, I really think I'm pretty good at this now that I know I'm autistic, is I don't pretend to understand something when I don't. So a lot of times it's like, yeah, yes. But now I'll just be like, hang on, I'm not quite with you. Can you repeat that? Or like, it sounds like you're saying this. Am I right about that? Because again, it goes back to the purpose of, the reason I'm doing that is not to be frustrating or difficult. I really want to understand you. I really want to be here for this conversation. Am I getting it right? Don't be afraid to have those little check-ins. And if somebody's not going to be patient with you about that, that says more about them than it does about you. That's all I need to say, period. Okay. Sorry, my kids are like, Mom, why are you saying these things? Yeah. I was going to give more examples of awkward things to say, but I won't. And the 15th one. The 15th thing that I really don't do too often anymore is question why I'm different. I just embrace it. That's why I started making these videos, why I started my channel, because I learned the word autism, like truly what it means and how it presents and how it related to my life. And it was like stepping into a version of myself that could finally take a deep breath. And it was just one of those things, like kind of like a finger snap, like, okay, everything's so much clearer now. And before I had my diagnosis, it was like, what's wrong? Why am I different? Why do I process things differently? Why am I not doing it like them? Yada, la, la, la. And now that I have the word autism to describe how my brain works, I'm like, yeah, I'm different. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. I stopped trying to fight against that. I mean, again, work in progress. But I have this deep understanding of, okay, I'm not broken. I just do things differently. And I love that I do things differently. And there's room for me to learn how to balance the way I do things with the way other people do things. But there's also a lot more room for me to embrace my own natural patterns and to create space for those things. So, like I said, if you relate to a couple of these or many of them, or you're like, I'm still doing these things, then you might be in fight or flight. You might be hypervigilant. I know a lot of us are. I'm with you, and it's gonna be okay. Um, the key for me has and continues to be to move gently, to reduce expectations, which might sound defeatist, but I tend to be more of like a perfectionist, workaholic type. I don't say that lightly. It's not something to like brag about. It's really not. And I'm trying to lower expectations for myself, give myself like normal human expectations, be kind with myself, move gently through my day. Still have a ways to go. I'm not perfect. And then just being gut level honest with yourself, like what's working, what doesn't work, what feels not good, what could be better, and not making apologies for that. Just, yeah, this is how it is. This is where I want to go. I'm going to try to get there gently. I'm going to allow myself to move towards that, move with the flow of my life. So, what types of people and things and experiences bring you joy, bring you a feeling of being your true self? And what types of people and things and experiences take away from that? Take note of that. Take one step today to move closer to something that makes you feel like yourself. Let me know in the comments what you would add to this list, because I really do think I'm going to be making a part 2. Check out the link in the description for the Ono slider. You won't be sorry. You'll be like, wow, I'm a professional fidgeter now. Should I go into ASMR? I don't know. Okay. Like this video if it was helpful to you. Subscribe to the channel so you can be a part of all the cool stuff going on here. And I'll see you in the next video. Unedited. Bam.